Good morning. Happy Monday. How are we doing? I hope we're good. Good morning. Okay. All right. Today, we're going to do one more leaf before we start with the frilly, fringy bits. And this is going to be, some people really like it. I feel like I say that with every single stitch, but this stitch especially, some people really like it and some people really don't. So it is the brick stitch. We're going to use all 6 strands. And I'm going to do a little drawing before we get started, just because I kind of want to show you how it works. We've already learned it in the paid Stitchalong. So if you already did it for the paid Stitchalong and you're like, oh, I don't like it, it's a good idea to do it again, because then you can practice. Or you can just use a different one. That's totally fine too. Okay, so with the brick stitch, we're going to have a regular leaf shape, or you can make a different leaf shape. It can work with lots of different. I know, I just saw Veronica. She says, morning, just watching today as keeping an eye on the new puppy. Feel free to bring it over to me, okay? I'm so excited. Make sure you post a lot of puppy pics, okay? Okay, so I'm going to do a really basic shape for the leaf. Yeah. So with the brick stitch, you're going to lay them like bricks. So I like to go down the middle. Now every other one is going to be offset like bricks. So just like you would do if you were a bricklayer, just like how you would do bricks, you would offset them like this. So like the middle of this one to the middle of that one, that's where your stitch should be. And all of these stitches should be the same length. So we're not looking for like this one and then a little short one and then like a medium one and then another long one. No, we want to have all of them the same length. And then we'll carry on and do the full shape. Now, sometimes you'll have to do a little half stitch at the top or at the bottom, especially if you're making a rectangle shape. Yeah, because the 2 rows, obviously, if they're offset, then they can't be the same at the top and the bottom. Do you know what I mean? So with the leaf, you might have these tiny little stitches at the top just to make up that shape. And you'll know really quickly as you're stitching if you need to add those stitches or not. So for this one, we could go half, yeah, and you might get away with just a tiny little stitch on each one. And then the 3rd row would be just like the first one again. So I like to put the full stitches in first and then see, do I need any half stitches, or will I be okay? Do I need to add anywhere? That type of thing. So yeah, we'll just get started. I do like to add the guidelines in just in case so that you can actually see where they go. Lots of people have said this is kind of like long and short stitch, and it is, but it's not. Long and short stitch, you're normally doing a longer stitch and a shorter stitch and working them in alternate rows. Whereas brick stitch, every stitch is the same length. Okay, so let's do it like this. Trying to figure out where I won't get my threads caught on these things. I'm going to put mine right over here. This one's kind of up a ways, so I might put this one just like pointing out. Let's make it like a pretty fat one. Looks kind of weird, but I can always add another one if I want to, like up this way. You know? So it's not exactly the same on each side. I might decide to do something different with that one. We just don't know. Okay. Is that going to be too much the same color? It is, isn't it? That's too the same. Let's use the other one. We'll use this one. and then it'll be a little bit different. Sorry for that. I just don't like having the same colors right next to each other, you know, because then like it won't stick out. It won't like, you know, you won't be able to see it very well. So I've just chosen the same color as these ones. And then at the top, we can mix the colors up as well. Okay, back again. Okay, so I like to go down the middle and choose your stitch length. If you make it really long, then you're only gonna have 2 stitches here, you know? So 1, 2. If you make them really, really, really tiny, you're gonna be here all day. 6 strands. So you always know it's 6 strands unless I physically show you that I'm separating them. So I like to make mine about that big. So not super short, but also not really long either. Now some people like to do their brick stitch really, really small, and it almost gives like a pebble effect almost, because they're so tiny, almost like you fill it up with dots, you know? But I like to see where the bricks are, if that makes any sense. Sometimes when they get too small, they get a bit like, well, where do I need to put my next part? Where is my next stitch? Where does it have to go? You know? So there you go. Okay, so we've done the one down the middle. Now, like I said, I like to go back and do all the full stitches first and then go back and do the little half stitches because I just find that that keeps me on track a little bit more. So we'll go right next to it in the middle. Again, we're not like using a ruler or anything like that. Just have a guess. It's all right. Oh, there's a magpie in the backyard. What, you supposed to like say a little rhyme and like salute it or something, right? They make me nervous. Guys, remember last year when the magpie like took out another bird in my backyard and then I ran out and saved the bird and then the bird went under my shed? Do you remember? And then all day I was on like bird watch, like thinking that this poor bird was gonna like get eaten. I didn't think they were mean until I saw that. I was like, Lord help me. We've got like, this is our backyard and there's a really big tree here and there's a really big tree on this other side. So the birds go back and forth between the 2 trees like all the time. So we have quite a few birds here. A lot of magpies, a lot of squirrels as well. So now I've got my little half stitch at the top because remember we want to keep that round shape. And then let's go back for the third row. So really it's just offset back stitch to make it look like bricks. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so now that we're back down here, we can do any of those half stitches that we needed on this side and then fill in the bottom part. Now, I like brick stitch because it gives a little bit of a texture. The more I look at this leaf, the more I'm like, I really want to fix it. Upside down, it looked fine, but now right side up, it looks like it doesn't look very nice. Yeah, but then you can outline it. You can add like a line down the middle if you wanted to add like a little, with a contrasting color. it's a really nice like foundation if you wanted to do a little bit more to like jazz it up. Whereas some of the other stitches, kind of like the stitch is the thing, you know? Like fishbone stitch. Like you wouldn't really want to add like a line down the middle or like a big outline, because like the whole point of the stitch is to have that fun part down the middle. So I know, I can't remember who did it. It might have been just in a Facebook group I'm in or something, but they did such a lovely fishbone stitch, and then they did an outline around it and then a big like line down the middle. And I was like, well, why did you do that for? It looked so pretty. Now, when you get to the smaller space, this is where you can definitely get away with filling the shape and straying a little bit from the really strict brick stitch. Do you know what I mean? So if it has to go a little bit farther, meaning the stitch has to be a little bit bigger, then it's really not that big of a deal. But try your best to make them all the same length, except for the ones that fill up the space on the edge. Okay, so now we've done half. Looks like I've just got a little bit to do at the top here. And we'll go back to the other side and do the other side. Now you could do a lot of things with this, just the same as the satin stitch. I think I was telling you for the satin stitch that we did on the paid Stitchalong, but there's lots of ways that you can do this. You could do half brick stitch, outline the other half, meaning that you leave the color of the fabric there, just have a little outline. You could do a satin stitch for the other half. So it's like half textured and half not. You could do it sideways if you want to have half like vertical and the other half horizontal. There's lots and lots and lots of ways that you can do this to add a little bit more like pizzazz, or just to change it up a little bit. So this is kind of like the bare minimum brick stitch. That's it. But you can do so much more with these stitches than just the direction or the way that I'm showing you, you know? Did you guys have a nice Valentine's Day? Did you do anything special? David said he thought that we would treat ourselves to a Starbucks because we had a 25% off coupon on Uber Eats, and then we went to go buy it and it didn't work for that. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just made us coffee. And then we got a takeaway and part of my meal was missing. So I messaged Uber Eats about it and they just refunded my entire meal. So even though I had part of my meal, so I felt bad and I messaged the company, like the actual restaurant, and was like, I'm really sorry. Can I pay for my meal? Because I didn't want to not pay for the food I ate. Do you know what I mean? I felt awful. Like it wasn't McDonald's or like Domino's. It was like an independent restaurant. And I felt awful, so bad. And so I was like, I'm really sorry. Can I like send you money? Can we drop money off or something? Like, because I ate the food, you know, just part of the food was missing. The Cluttery says, brick stitch looks amazing. Great texture. Yeah, it's so fun. And she made homemade blinis last night. Oh, so lush. Jamie T says, me and Kim had Starbucks and McDonald's, and me and my parents had Chinese takeaway. Oh, that's nice. I actually got to see people legally here in Italy, and I gave out little hand-painted Valentine's cards with self-love quotes. It was lovely. Oh, that is too sweet. Whenever we go to Starbucks, we always pay for the person behind us. But we haven't like actually been out of the house in so long to do it. I feel like I'm missing out on spreading some joy, you know? Did they accept your money back? Bless you. So yeah, he said, let's see, because with Uber Eats, they obviously like pay the company. So like, it's just like the middleman, you know? So like he said that they pay them all the money up front, and then Uber Eats will then request the money back if they had like a problem with their order. So like I said that I was missing part of my order, and so they refunded my whole meal, not just the part I was missing. And so he said, we'll see if Uber requests all that money back from them. Do you know what I mean? Because he's like, Uber Eats is a big company, so I'd rather have them take the hit instead of me or you. And I was like, that's very sweet, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm paying for my meal. So yeah, that was a bit of a disaster. Like, not that big in the scheme of things, but you know. Okay, so we're finished one brick stitch sleeve. So now we can decide if we want to do the same thing over here or not. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. So it's just like peeking out. And then I think what I'm going to do is show you how to do a little stem stitch outline. Because I don't think we've done stem stitch, only on this rose. So we haven't really done it for petals. So let me end this one. And then I'll show you that now. And then if you need to leave and go get started on your day or whatever, then you can. Okay, so let's find a nice light color. I have all dark colors. Oh, here. Oh, it's the same color as that, though. I'll just get a new one. Okay. Oh, this is a disaster. I'm using star 214, and I'm going to use 3 strands. So I'm going to separate it. And then we can do stem stitch for an outline if you would like to do that. Because I know sometimes with brick stitch, it can get a little bit, you can use the same color as well if you wanted to use just the same color. But I know sometimes the outline, the stitches on the outside can look a little bit like maybe not as nice as you want to, or a little bit textured, or maybe you want to cover up some places where you didn't quite get them all the way to the end. Okay, so with stem stitch, just like before, around the circle, you're going to come up. Oh, here we go. Here. And I always put the loop on the hump for something that is round. So for this one here, the hump goes this way, the curve goes this way. So you're going to put your loop this way. Okay. There's also a stitch called outline stitch. And for that one, I'm pretty sure it's the same stitch. It's just you put the loop the opposite way. However, I've only ever seen it done on straight things. Whereas they say that if it's a straight line, then outline stitch, you put the loop on the bottom, and stem stitch, you put the loop on the top. But it looks exactly the same. It only looks different to me when it's on a curved thing. And this is what I found works the best for me. So we're gonna do not a huge stitch, but not a really small one either. Again, the closer these stitches are together, the more twisted they're going to look. But I just want like a nice outline. So you're gonna leave your loop like this. Again, it's 3 strands. Yeah. And then come up right in the between of those 2 stitches. In the between. Jesus, what am I doing? Okay. And then just pull that snug. And we're gonna do our next stitch. Now our next stitch is gonna be here to here, which is the same as the length of your first stitch. So actually we're only going up a little bit, like a halfways. I know you can't see it very well, but this right here is where I ended the first one. So the second one is just gonna go like here. Because we want them to be the same length stitches, just like overlapping. Kind of like the brick stitch, but not. This is all in one line. Okay, and then we're gonna do it again. Well, we were going to do it again. Now, if you have a really tight curve, like the pink petals here, if we were to do an outline stem stitch on these, you'd have to make your stem stitches really, really small, especially around the corners here, or you'll risk them cutting across like this and not being round like this. But I suppose that's for a different day, isn't it? Okay, so now we're back at the tip and we'll do the other one. Now, obviously we can't start at the tip like we started at the tip here because that's where our thread ends. So we're just gonna start it on this side. Just go up your stitch length and then back down here. And now you have exactly the same as how we started with. Go up in the middle. And I always like to do a little half stitch just at the very end, so it's all twisted. Okay, so here's where if you want to do some little details inside, you could do like a 3/4 length straight stitch like this. If you wanted to bring a little bit of like jazz to it, or you could do one the whole length of the middle so it looks like this. Totally up to you. So there we go. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. And there you go. That's it from me today. Easy peasy day, isn't it? So I'll save this other one for Sunday when we do the catch-up day, because then I have something to work on. So that's what we have so far. What do we think? It's a bit more textured than some of the other leaves, in a different kind of way, if you know what I mean. But I'm 100% taking this out. I don't like it. But there you go. It's bothered me for 3 or 4 days now, so I'm going to do it. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed my little brick stitch and stem stitch lesson. Be sure to tag at the Barmy Fox and use the hashtag the Barmy Fox SAL, and we'll go through and like and comment on all of your hoops. All right, we're almost done, guys. We just have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday's catch-up day, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 9 days left. That's it. Can you believe it? The Cluttery says, can you put a border around that leaf? I could. I just want it to be a bit wider at the bottom to fill up more of the space. I'm just being picky. That's all. But I always say, if you don't like it, leave it a couple days. And if you still don't like it, then just take it out. It's not that big of a deal to take out your stitches. Yes, nothing's going to be perfect. But every time you look at it, you're going to go, that one leaf. If I would have just done it. So there's a fine line between, I need to practice that, so I'll do it again, and I just don't like it. So follow your gut. All right. I hope you enjoy your Monday, and I'll speak with you in just a little bit for the paid stitch along, or tomorrow for the teapot. All right. Bye.